His sadness is growing, and it's the same as mine. Thinking maybe if you were just different, things wouldn't be the way they are. Wishing you could go back. Wishing you could fix it.
25. When I get to school, Oliver's bike isn't parked in the rack, and when the bell rings, he still hasn't arrived in the lobby. I wonder if maybe he didn't ride today, and he's sneaking in some free throw practice. But when I pull open the heavy doors, the gym is empty. In class, Ms. Levitt says we can get right to finalizing our projects. Then she does the attendance, checking off names on her clipboard. Our projects are due tomorrow, and Oliver has the folder with our Gabeover comic, and there's no way we can be ready to share if he doesn't show up with it. Ruben is sitting at our table now, and we're looking at each other, and I know we both have the same thought bubbles. Where is he? At first, I'm wondering if Miss Levitt will give us extra time since Oliver isn't here. And then after a few more minutes, I start to get worried, because Oliver is never late, and I'm wondering if someone can move that fast. Pack up all the empty boxes in their living room, close the door, and drive off to a new life without saying goodbye to their best friend. But I know Oliver wouldn't do that. Ruben rolls the jagged edge of his bulletin board paper project between his fingers. I lean over and see that he has 2 detailed self-portraits drawn on his paper now, one on each side and both outlined in black Sharpie. Each face has a different expression. One is happy and energetic. The other is sad and scared. In the middle, a big comic-style lightning bolt separates them. I check the clock on the classroom wall. He's 10 minutes late. I tap my notebook with my pencil and try to jot a down-the-page poem, but I can't think. So I do what Oliver's been doing lately. I sneak my cell phone out of my book bag and into my lap below my desk. Ruben nods. Oliver, where are you? I type. Then I wait to feel the buzz of my phone in my hands beneath the table. Ms. Levitt reminds us about the gallery walk of projects tomorrow and says, "I'm so excited to see how they all come out." Cass waves Missy and Tanya into the supply closet to help her make a video of the song she wrote. Ingrid is typing up her short story on one of Ms. Levitt's laptops from the cart, and Chaz is hanging more shreds of paper from the ceiling of his diorama. Then, my phone vibrates, and I nearly jump to the roof. I wait until Ms. Levitt walks by on her way to Andre, who has his hand raised in the back. Then I sneak a look beneath the table and see a message from Oliver. I slide my finger across the screen and read, "The folder is in my locker. You know the combination." I nudge Ruben to look, and when he reads it, his face gets even more serious, and he gestures for me to write back. "Where are you? Are you okay?" I type. "I'm fine. Just have to do something for my mom." I show Ruben the screen, then slide the phone in my pocket. And my brain is spinning 100 miles per hour, wondering why he'd leave the folder in his locker overnight, and how he was supposed to finish the drawings. And now something just feels really, really off, and I'm remembering how he tried to get me to take the folder home, like he knew he'd be gone today. But why wouldn't he just tell me that? I raise my hand and ask Ms. Levitt if I can go to the bathroom. She nods, and I head out to Oliver's locker. The folder is on the top shelf, and as I'm reaching for it, I see a picture on the inside beneath the coat hook, where he usually hangs his sports club bag. I pull off the magnet that's holding it there, and I feel like I'm looking in on a secret I'm not supposed to see. But once I start looking, I can't put it back. It's a picture of Oliver with his dad. Oliver's sitting next to him. Oliver from 3rd grade, because he's wearing one of those lollipop rings our teacher used to give out after group problem solving on Friday afternoons. Oliver with his sister's hand-me-down polar bear shirt, which was his favorite, because when you ran your hands across the sequins, their color changed from white to blue. He has a basketball in his lap, and they look like they're on the bleachers at a game. I remember his dad used to take him to college games at the University of Vermont, and the next day he'd tell me about the pretzels that were the size of his face, that came with salt as big and shiny as diamonds. Oliver's smiling, but the picture makes me feel sad. I return the picture to the inside of his locker, beneath the hook, and tuck the folder under my arm on the way back to Ms. Levitt's room. Reuben is bent over his project, but lifts his head when I walk in. We open the folder, and everything looks just as we left it. Except when I pull out the comic frames, the last 2 drawings are done. The trail scene is filled out with more shrubs and logs, and the compass on Gabever's belly is pointing north. He's picking up a piece of trash beneath the Leave No Trace sign. And in the last scene, kids are playing on the jungle gym, shooting baskets on the court, swinging, climbing, and sliding. And Gabever is there, in the middle of the playground, standing between 2 kids. One who is pointing and laughing and needs a full speech bubble full of all caps ha-has, and another who is small, with eyes facing down. Gabever's right hand is on the smaller kid's shoulder, like a hero hand, trying to make him feel more comfortable. Reuben points to the brick of the school wall, and sure enough, there he is. But he's leaning forward like maybe he's about to take a step. "It's perfect," I say. "But he came in and dropped it off early? And never said anything?" Reuben looks at me with worried eyes, and something feels wrong in my guts. I raise my hand and ask Miss Levitt if I can go to my locker for a few supplies. She's loading the printer with more paper, and it automatically starts a print job from the day before. She looks up and says, "Okay." And I walk fast to the door, and when I'm in the hall, I run. And I don't care that it's against the rules, or that if Principal Tacker catches me, she will point me right into the office and ask me what I think I was doing out there. I turn down the hallway and don't stop until I'm in the bathroom. I pull out my phone and call Oliver, and it rings and rings. I hang up and try again, but he doesn't pick up. I text again. "Are you sure you're okay?" And this time, I don't hear back. When I open the door, I almost run square into Ms. Neely, who's headed toward the gym. "Can I help you?" she asks. I want to say yes, that I need everyone's help, that I've lost my best friend and I don't know which direction to turn. But I just let the bathroom door slam and run toward the exit doors and look as far as I can down the sidewalk toward town. The 8th graders are outside on the playground, climbing and swinging and hanging from the jungle gym. The basketball court is empty. And I feel frozen, because I don't know where to look. The recess aide blows her whistle and waves down 2 kids racing up the slide. "It's okay," I whisper to myself. "I'll find him." Then I take one step and another back into school.
26. Reuben. I shouldn't be running in the hole. I shouldn't be running at all. The kid who slipped on that thin layer of ice was running. Then he flew over the rail, popping all my speech bubbles on his way down, his head sending a ringing sound up the metal pole. That sound still rings in my ears. If I had been quiet, not pulling at the recess teacher's jacket to listen to my story, then maybe she would have seen him, blown her whistle, told him to stop running. Maybe she would have caught him or cushioned his fall. Maybe he'd still be here, instead of that ringing in my ears. Maybe the best thing I can be is quiet and still. Except now I need to be quiet and running, because we have to find Oliver, and I think I have a clue. So I run. I run from Ms. Levitt's room down the hall with the paper in my hand.
27. When I get back inside the school, I see Reuben running toward me with a piece of paper in his hand. It has a printed picture of a dog sprinting across the top of the page with the word Greyhound beneath. And there's a confirmation number and a price, and I know exactly what this is. It's a receipt for a bus ticket to somewhere in Massachusetts. Reuben looks at me with his eyebrows all scrunched up. His dad, I say. Did you find this in his folder? Reuben shakes his head. The classroom? He nods and gestures his hand like the paper's coming out of the printer. When Ms. Levitt loaded the printer, I say, this page came out? I read the receipt again. It's got to be Oliver's. He was the last person to use it yesterday before it ran out of paper and beeped. Reuben's still looking at me with scrunched up eyebrows. But he doesn't visit his dad, I say. He never has. He left 2 years ago, and Oliver hasn't seen him since I don't even know when. I look at the paper again. And he would have told me if you were going, right? My eyes feel all burny, and I look down at my feet. He thinks it's his fault, that his dad left. Reuben lets go of a big, heavy breath. I'll call his mom, I say. I take out my phone, right there in the hallway, without even trying to hide it, first to look up the restaurant where she works in town, then to call. But the line is busy. I hang up and try again. Reuben points to the ticket. The bus leaves in 40 minutes. I slide my phone back in my pocket. And even though I know I'm going to get in trouble, Ms. Levitt will tell Principal Tacker, and Principal Tacker will call my mom at the bookstore, and as soon as she finds me, she'll ban me from everything in the world. I run out the front door of the school, hop on my bike, and pedal up the sidewalk toward town. And I can hear Reuben pedaling right there behind me, all the way to the restaurant, because it's so obvious to me now that Reuben is the real deal. He always has been. When we pass by the bookstore, I don't check to see if Mom's in the window, watching me skip out on school and ride like the wind through town. Because even if she comes out on the porch, waving her arms with boxes of all my favorite books signed by the author with fancy matching bookmarks, she can't stop me. We ditch our bikes in front of the restaurant, and a bell on the door jingles when we walk in. I see Oliver's mom right away, taking an order at the counter. When she hears the bell chime, she looks up. Gabe? I hold up the Greyhound bus receipt and say, Can I talk to you for a second? She tells the man at the counter to excuse her for just a moment and gestures for us to go outside. What's going on, Gabe? She asks. I explain to her that Oliver hasn't shown up for school today, that we found this in Ms. Levitt's printer, and we think it's his, and that he finished his part of our group project and left it for us in his locker this morning. She reaches for the paper, and her face sinks, and she says one word very loudly. Damn. Then she stuffs the receipt in her jeans pocket, unties her apron fast, drops it right there on the sidewalk, and runs toward her car in the lot behind the restaurant. We follow her as she fumbles her keys and opens the driver's side door. Then before she ducks in the car, she looks at us like she doesn't quite know what to do. We want to come, I say. Oliver's mom exhales a hard breath that makes her lips sputter. Then she says, Well, get in. Let's go. And I'm pretty sure that hopping in an adult's car in the middle of the day to drive over the speed limit to a bus station in another town breaks 1,000 rules. But we already left school without telling anyone, and I don't see how we're just going to just walk back in there. Plus, I want to find Oliver. So Reuben and I squish in the back seat, and Oliver's mom says, Sorry for the mess, and buckle up. But she doesn't wait to hear the click like my mom does before she backs the car out into the street, and I swear the tires screech as we take off down the road. I'm sitting in the middle seat, squeezed in next to Reuben because there are boxes on the other side. And no one says anything for the first few minutes until we hit a red light, and Oliver's mom stops quickly and slams her hands hard on the steering wheel. The clock in her car says that Oliver's bus departs in 6 minutes. She's trying to call the bus station, and I'm remembering my mom making a big deal about putting her phone out of sight while driving so she can be focused on the road. And I can see why now, because Oliver's mom is swerving a little as she looks down to dial. She puts it on speaker and drops the phone in her lap, but a robot keeps picking up and asking her to choose 1, 2, or 3, but none of those options is about stopping Oliver's bus. So we listen to the staticky music play as we wait for an operator. "We'll never make it," she says. Then she looks left and right and waits for a car to pass in front of us, and then she just goes. She steps on the gas and we fly right through the red light. Cars are honking and she's yelling, "Sorry!" like they'll be able to hear. Or maybe she's yelling sorry to us because she takes off so fast that we're whipped back in our seats. We come to another light, but it's green. Then it's yellow, but Oliver's mom steps on the gas and we speed through. We're passing 100 cars in the other lane, and I'm wondering what the chances are that a cop will see us and turn on their lights before we reach the bus station. Oliver's mom catches Ruben's eyes in the rearview mirror. "Shoot," she says. "I don't even think we've met." She passes another car. "God, what a mess. I'm Oliver's mom, obviously." "This is Ruben," I say. Oliver's mom nods and pounds her hands on the wheel again as a car pulls out in front of her. "Friend from school?" "Yeah," I say. I feel my phone vibrate in my pocket, and I pull it out hoping it's Oliver, but knowing it's my mom. That Ms. Levitt caught on that we're missing, and she told Principal Tacker, and they called my mom, and now I'm waiting for Spider-Man to scale down from the roof of the car and snatch me back to the safety of the bookstore. Before I can even open the message, my phone buzzes with another one. "Gabe? Where are you? I'm worried sick." Now she's calling, and I'm too nervous to pick up because I haven't exactly planned out what I'm going to say. Then Ruben's phone starts buzzing too. "My mom's freaking out," I say, looking down at my screen. Ruben does that sign for me too. Oliver's mom is switching lanes and turning on her blinker to make a right-hand turn. But she says something about calling our parents when we get there, and how she should have called the school, but what a mess, and we have to get to this bus, and we're running out of time. My phone buzzes again. This time, it's not from my mom. It's a message from my dad, who doesn't normally text, especially right now, because he should be sleeping before work. And it makes me feel extra nervous that I've been missing for only 21 minutes, and the news has already woken him up. "Hey, Gabe, all okay?" "What are we going to tell them?" I ask. Ruben shrugs, then types something into his phone and shows me the screen. "The truth," it says. "We haven't done anything wrong." And even though we've broken 100 rules in the past 21 minutes, I think he's right. Because I don't feel even the littlest bit of gobbledygook in my guts. So I write back to my mom. I'm safe. I have to help Oliver. I'm with his mom. I'll explain later, and you can ground me for 1,000 days if you have to. And then I send a message to my dad. I'm okay. Oliver needs help, and he's my best friend. My phone buzzes with another call from my mom, but I don't pick it up. Then it buzzes with 2 messages. Maybe 999 days. Be safe. See you in the morning. It makes my eyes burn to think of corn pops with my dad. Because even though I get to see him for a little bit each day, the missing is sometimes so deep. So I get it. I get why Oliver would want to sneak away, board a bus, and ride closer to his dad for another chance. When we reach the bus station, Oliver's mom pulls into a parking spot crooked, tells us to stay here, leaves the car running, and sprints toward the front doors with the receipt from Ms. Levitt's printer crumpled in one hand. The clock says that we're 3 minutes too late, and it feels weird just sitting here and waiting and staring at the bus station door and hoping it flies back open and we see Oliver walking out. The minute changes on the car's clock. Ruben is drumming his fingers on his knees. Then I see the rack next to the entrance, and Oliver's bike is there. And even though Oliver's mom told us to wait here, I unbuckle my seatbelt, stretch over Ruben, and fling the door open. Come on, I say. And it takes Ruben half a second to reach into the driver's seat, turn the key, and pull it out of the ignition. Then we climb out and run to the station. And when we open the heavy door, we see Oliver's mom talking to a man at the ticket counter in the same voice she used in Principal Tacker's office. Something about letting an unaccompanied minor board, and was he out of his mind? "Call that bus back now," she says. The man is already on the phone and clicking on the keyboard in front of him and saying that the ticket was purchased with a credit card online and that Oliver was checked in with a printed ticket at the gate. There's a line forming behind Oliver's mom, and a guy at the back is shouting about how he's going to miss his bus and what is taking so long. Oliver's mom turns around, and I'm pretty sure she's about to tell him to shut his mouth and wait. But then she sees us and goes silent, and it's me who yells to the guy to wait his turn. Then the man behind the desk asks Oliver's mom if those unaccompanied minors are supposed to be with her too. "Shoot," she says. And she kind of collapses a little, her elbows catching on the counter in front of her, and she buries her head in her hands. "Just call that bus back," she says quietly, without looking up, like it's the last breath she has in her body. The man tells her she can take a seat in the waiting area, and he'll call her when he gets through to the bus driver. We rush to Oliver's mom and walk with her to the row of chairs where we all sit down. There's a big window with 2 buses parked outside, both with lines of people who are holding out their tickets to a woman with a scanner and stepping inside. The guy who was shouting from the back of the line is finishing at the counter now and rushing out to catch his bus. Oliver's mom hands me the bus receipt and takes out her phone. Her thumbs fly across the screen. "I'll tell him we're all waiting at the bus station," she says. "If he knows you're here too, maybe he'll change his mind and tell the bus driver to turn around himself." She shakes her head and says, "Why would he do this?" She sighs a big, loud sigh. "What was he thinking?" The questions aren't for us, but I can't help trying to answer them in my head. And I'm pretty sure Reuben is too, because we're kind of glancing at each other out of the corners of our eyes and pressing our lips into little frowns. Oliver's mom is keeping her eyes on the man behind the desk, and we're all sitting with our elbows on our knees, holding our phones out in front of us, hoping they buzz with a message from Oliver.
28. Reuben. I know what Oliver was thinking. That he could fix something he thinks he broke.
29.